Kia ora tātou katoa. Welcome back to another episode of The Pacific. I'm Johnson Raela.
And I'm Alice Lolohea. It's a jam-packed show, so let's see what's coming up.
We hear from Timor-Leste's President Jose Ramos-Horta on the future of his country and its relationship with the Pacific.
And as the Cook Islands pins its economic hopes on mineral extraction, debates over deep-sea mining continue.
We really need to be asking ourselves, whose interests does deep-sea mining really serve?
First though, Alice, dramatic scenes in Marshall Islands this week.
That's right, Johns. A symbol of governance for the Marshall Islands people, now in ashes. Earlier this week, the Nirrijala Parliament building was consumed by fire and completely destroyed. Firefighters arrived on the scene in the early hours, teaming up with local agencies to battle the blaze. RNZ Pacific correspondent Giff Johnson reported that no one was hurt and plans are already underway to find an alternative place to host Parliament, which is currently in session.
Parliament building itself is totally demolished, although some of the structure is still standing. It's a concrete structure, but it's wiped out on the inside. The problem here is we don't have very much firefighting capacity, and also for forensic investigations, they're just very limited.
Nirrijala's Parliament chambers, library, archives and records were completely destroyed in the fire. In an official statement, a government spokesperson suggests the fire originated from a container trailer located near the building. And in Fiji, the High Court in Lautoka has handed down the toughest sentences in the country's history for drug offences. 9 people were sentenced over the importation of 4.1 tonnes of methamphetamine destined for Australia, worth an estimated $2 billion. The ringleader was sentenced to life in prison, while other sentences ranged from 55 years to 15 years behind bars. Prosecutors say the tough sentences are a warning to cartels that the Pacific will not be an easy transit point. Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell will lead an official delegation into the Pacific, with the country's foreign ministry making an announcement on X. The ministry says the visit is aimed at advancing Israel-Pacific relations and reflects their appreciation for the Pacific region. Israel and the Pacific have enjoyed warming ties in recent times.
You've been wonderful friends of Israel. Israel is your friend, and we have so much in common.
In 2023, Israel bankrolled a new embassy in Jerusalem for PNG. And the Fijian government also approved the establishment of an embassy there earlier this year. Since Israel began its war in Gaza, it has found itself increasingly isolated, with many countries condemning Israel's actions. The Gaza Health Ministry says Israel has killed more than 60,000 people in the conflict. But in the Pacific, countries like Fiji, Papua New Guinea and Nauru have continued to vote against resolutions to end the occupation of Palestine at the UN General Assembly.
Thank you, Alice. Now, as the debate over deep-sea mining across the Pacific intensifies, Cook Islands is confronting critical questions about identity, the environment, and the future of the country. The government is now considering expanding exploration licenses to companies looking to mine within Cook Islands waters. I travelled there to see firsthand how the country is grappling with the issue. The Cook Islands are famed for their pristine seas. But beneath the surface, deep underwater, are millions of these mineral-rich rocks, known as nodules. They're rich in cobalt, manganese and other coveted rare earth minerals, crucial for making batteries and other green energy technologies. And if these odd, misshapen rocks can be successfully harvested,
this has the potential to generate between 100 and 200 million of direct revenue a year.
But for some, you can't put a price on what's at stake if mining goes ahead.
They come in, they extract, and they say thank you and leave.
Alright, so we've just arrived at Avatu Harbour, and right here is the Anō no Moana vessel, and its primary job is to collect data, and it's an exploration vessel, and it's run by a company called Moana Minerals, and we're here to have a chat to the CEO, Hans Smit. The Cook Islands has the world's biggest resource of nodules within its own territory of any country on Earth. For now, commercial mining operations are not yet approved, but 3 companies, including Moana Minerals, have a license to explore Cook Islands' oceans.
So this is a typical cabin. So this is not the biggest cabin, it's not the smallest cabin, but
So it's not your cabin?
one level up.
Since early 2023, Hans and his team have been researching the seafloor 200 kilometres north of the island of Aitutaki. Hans hopes mining operations can commence in coming years.
We are looking to get all of that data collection done by the end of next year, so in 2027 we can submit our application for an environmental permit, and as soon as that is accepted, to apply for the mining license.
Deep-sea mining has been a live issue in Cook Islands for years. Environmentalists warn the ocean's fragile ecosystems could be harmed by large-scale mining. Hans and his team hope the work they're doing can prove mining at great depths will have little to no impact on ocean health.
Of course, they would be testing a noisy piece of equipment while we're talking. So this is our laboratory container. We have 3 laboratories on board. So this is the geological one. We have one for biological work, and then we have one for chemistry. If we weren't confident that it was viable and it had an economic case and that we could satisfy the concerns around the environment and all the other issues, we wouldn't be doing it.
We're not finished yet, guys.
But that doesn't mean everyone is ready for mining to begin. Here in the plantations of Rarotonga, you'll often find the team from Kōrero Te Oro, a local environmental NGO teaching young people Indigenous practices.
Māori name is Ringa. Turmeric.
They're also out in the lagoon hunting taramea, or crown of thorns starfish, a coral-eating species that threatens the survival of Cook Islands reefs.
Most people that are making the decisions, they're not doing anything about the impacts that are happening into our ocean. These kids are.
So for these kids, deep-sea mining looms as a new challenge, one they remain unsure is the right path for their country.
It might be good now, but it won't be good for our later generation and my children and my grandchildren.
I think we are too hung up on this idea that we need money.
As a marine biologist, Dr. Teina worries about the environmental impacts of deep-sea mining. But more and more, he worries large-scale operations could also have unintended consequences.
I'm also concerned more about the impact on our people as Indigenous people of this place.
Dr. Teina says he's seen what overdevelopment has done to other island cultures. He points out that in Hawaii, Indigenous people have been priced out of cities and their culture has been eroded by decades of overdevelopment.
Last year we took 43 students from our program to Hawaii. And the whole purpose of that trip was to help our youth see the impact of development and what it does to the Indigenous people. It's really opened the eyes of our young people to see, hey, if this is the direction we're headed, if we were to have lots of money, development-wise, and we will be disadvantaged to the point where we will be pushed away from our home.
But Hans says deep-sea mining has the potential to stop the flow of young people leaving Cook Islands for New Zealand and Australia.
Where we are working is away from land. We are not displacing people. The kids that are here who want to stay, we at least give them something they can aspire to, and they can have a fulfilling career on the Cook Islands, living close to their family and where they were born.
History tells me that it isn't the local Indigenous people of mining communities that benefit. See many turtles?
Louisa Castledine, alongside her family, run Ocean Tour Adventures, a tour company.
My name's Regan. Right here we have Mark. Up the back we've got Dan.
She is one of the most outspoken Cook Islanders against deep-sea mining.
They come in, they extract, and they say thank you and leave. And what we're left with is the damage, the loss, and the recovery. And that is not a future I want for my future children. We really need to be asking ourselves, whose interests does deep sea mining really serve?
Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown has been a staunch supporter of deep sea mining. He says it offers a way of building a sustainable economic model for some small island states.
The need to diversify the economy is critically important. So we're certainly not putting profit as the motivation for our country. The motivation here we have for our country is the benefit of our people.
Tristan Metcalf from the Cook Islands Ministry of Finance and Economic Development says Cook Islands would use the revenue from mining to establish a sovereign wealth fund to benefit all citizens.
This is held on behalf of the Cook Islands people. It can't be squirreled away just for the people in the know and people that have influence.
What's Plan B if it doesn't go ahead?
We're working really hard to make sure we don't need to step into Plan B, and that's why we're working early.
Nearby is Avana Harbour, the departure point for many of the island's fishermen whose daily catch feeds their families and thousands of tourists.
Say the mining did go ahead, what impact will it have on, say, our fish stocks and stuff?
Fisherman Tamarua is sceptical of the government's promises, and he isn't convinced seabed mining won't impact his livelihood.
You know, the plume that comes out from the mining, is it going to affect the plankton? You know, is the food chain going to get messed up?
Nodules in Cook Islands will be collected from a depth of around 5,000 metres. Hans is adamant this won't impact fish stocks.
The fishing activities are typically the top 400-500 metres. We're at 5,000 metres, 10 times the water depth. We are one boat in the middle of 2 million square kilometres. How is that possibly going to impact the fishing fleet in the north of Cook Islands?
Despite their best efforts, mining companies still have a long way to go to convince some here that their activities will help everyday people.
We're going to get shafted like it happens all over the world. You know, all mining, regardless of where it's been, under and below, it's always been chaos and total destruction, and it always seems to be the landowners or the people of the land miss out. They get the crumbs, and all these mining companies get the lion's share and they off and go to somewhere else.
Moana Minerals is seeking an extension to their current 5-year licence.
The other thing we need to be careful of, it's always very easy to go and find all the horror stories, but you also need to go and find all the good stories as well, and you need to get perspective. Let's take the emotion and leave it outside the room, and let's sit down and let's go through the data. And if the data shows that what we are doing is unacceptable, fine, we will walk.
But for some, it isn't about data or money. It's about identity and whether this future is the right one for Cook Island's next generation.
Does it uplift and uphold the teachings of our ancestors? Does it encourage us to be more connected with our cultural and ethnicity identity? And what I leave behind for my children is what's really important to me. And if I'm leaving an ocean that is bare of fish, an ocean that lacks beauty, an ocean that is void of sacredness and cultural identity, then I'm fearful for the future that we're going to be leaving behind for our children.
And we'll be keeping you updated on deep-sea mining developments across the Pacific as other countries move towards commercial operations. Coming up shortly, we sit down with Timor-Leste's President Jose Ramos-Horta. And just over 20 years ago, Timor-Leste became the world's newest nation after a century of occupation and violence. Now, with a population of 1.4 million, the country's future hinges on billion-dollar oil and gas deals. And the leaders who fought for independence are once again fighting for its economic survival. A nation rich in natural resources, in 2005, Timor-Leste set up a sovereign wealth fund holding billions from offshore oil and gas. It was designed to safeguard the country's economic future. But poor management means it could run out by 2034. Timor's leaders have pinned their hopes on a joint gas deal with Australia, the $75 billion Greater Sunrise Gas Project. The project proposes the development of massive gas fields between Australia and Timor-Leste.
We need to have a Great Sunrise operational commercially maximum within the next 7-8 years.
The project has been delayed for 2 decades over a range of disagreements between Timor-Leste and Australian energy giant Woodside. A key sticking point is over where the gas should be processed. Prime Minister Xanana Gusmao wants it done in Timor instead of Darwin, and a leak report in 2022 supported this option. 2.5 decades after independence, Timor-Leste stands at a crossroads, caught between its hard-won sovereignty and the urgent need to secure a sustainable economic future before the oil runs dry. President Jose Ramos-Horta was in Australia recently, and I sat down with him here in Melbourne. Mr. President, firstly, thank you. Thank you for joining the Pacific. So in October last year, it said that by the end of 2024, a decision will be made on the Greater Sunrise Gas Project. Now we're at the back end of 2025, and nothing has happened. So when will this, cycle of broken promises for the Timorese people end, and what's holding it back?
Well, it was Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who is a very good man. He knows well about Timor-Leste. He sympathizes. He is a man of sensitivity, of fairness. His concern was to look for the best commercial option for Timor-Leste because he was worried about the future of Timor-Leste. This study by Wood points to the best commercial option, and that is the Timor-Leste option. And not only that, the Woods report found out also that even for Australia, the Timor option brings more commercial benefit to Australia. So there is no reason for further delay. All the effort, the study, the negotiations should focus on how to accelerate the decision to bring the pipeline to Timor-Leste.
You've dangled the idea of China investing in the Greater Sunrise Project to get it over the line. Is that still a legitimate option, or was it a bargaining tool?
We've been fighting for over 20 years. Immediately after independence, we want to develop Greater Sunrise with the pipeline coming to Timor-Leste, because that is to the benefit of our people, to uplift our people from extreme poverty. So we want it to develop, whether with the Woodside and the Japanese, the Koreans, or whoever in the region, or with the Chinese. But obviously our preference has been to continue with the partners that have been there for 20 years.
Timor-Leste and the Pacific share many challenges and strengths. How would you like to see the future relationship between Timor and Pacific nations develop?
I've met Pacific Islanders, are the most harmless, the most peaceful you can find. And more should be done by Australia and New Zealand to engage more with the leaders of Pacific Islands, to listen to their complaints, their concerns, and make Australia and New Zealand completely open door policies for the people of the Pacific, because it's not a huge number. I personally have like probably many people, the greatest affection and the respect for the Pacific Islanders.
Now, you've been vocal on the war on Gaza. What's your view on the ongoing conflict, and what do you make of Australia's decision to recognise Palestinian state?
I applaud Australia's decision to recognise the Palestinian state. Israel has sunk with the violence. When we claim to fight for freedom, for democracy, when Israel claimed to be the only democracy in the region, And based on his Jewish own experience of hundreds of years, particularly the Holocaust, they should be above revenge. They should show the higher moral, stand on higher moral ground. Instead, Netanyahu dragging Israel into the gutter. It's sad for the Jews, but I have the greatest respect for Jewish around the world, many in Israel, and I have still greater respect for the poor Palestinians, the Palestinians who have been discriminated, excluded, killed, including children. Oh God, it breaks my heart. How in this 21st century is supposed to be a century of enlightenment. This is happening. It is a shame, an embarrassment to be calling ourselves humans.
There's around 4,500 young Timorese people here in Australia employed in the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme. You've been critical of the scheme at times. What improvements would you like to see?
That they do not pay what they are not entitled to. Like, Australians pay a lot of taxes, all sorts, because you have the benefits of everything that this great country, the great welfare system provide. And these are our young people with a very poor background. They work hard. And for the sake of humanity, decency, do not take away from them through different means. And yes, we want to expand. Maybe 10,000 Timorese can come, 20,000. Because here, not only they're making some money, which they send home, but they learn work discipline, work ethics. They learn also new skills.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your time. Now, Alisi, there was a very special gathering in Sydney this week.
That's right, Johns. People got together in the harbour city on August 25th to mark South Sea Islander Recognition Day. The event marked the 31st anniversary of the Australian government's recognition of South Sea Islanders as a distinct cultural group. From the 1860s to the early 1900s, more than 62,000 people were kidnapped or taken from 80 mostly Melanesian islands to work on Queensland farms in a process known as blackbirding. Those people and their descendants make up Australia's South Sea Islander community. After the practice stopped, many faced repatriation under the White Australia policy, while those who remained were subjected to discrimination and racism.
My grandfather was 12 years old, my mother's father, when he was stolen off the island of Tanauta or Tana, and we must never forget that, because people's birthrights were stolen. You can't change the past, but what we can do is celebrate and recognise, the contributions to a great nation. We're here to celebrate that survival and resilience. So stay strong, young people. We can do this. Yeah.
Let's change pace now, because Pasifika and Māori films are a proven hit with audiences. The film Tina has clocked up over 10 million at the box office across Aotearoa and Australia. Now, Alisi, why do you think our stories resonate?
I think our humour is unmatched, but also we're getting more comfortable with weaving our different languages into our films as well.
Actually, on that note with languages, Marlon Williams, now he's an award-winning Māori singer-songwriter, and his film Two Worlds, Ngā Ao E Rua, is set to be released across Australia on October 25th.
The film takes us on a 7-year journey as he prepares to record his first ever album in Te Reo Māori. We recently sat down with Marlon and Samoan director Ursula Grace Williams.
This is how people reconnect with where they're from. I'm in the process of writing and recording an album in Te Reo Māori. Never done that before.
Ngā Ao E Rua, Two Worlds. People should go and see this film. It's a perfect example of Indigenous joy and how Indigenous joy can be a solid act of resistance, and that, it's Marlon Williams. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
With every record, you hope that you're rediscovering music again. What do I want? I want a feature film about me, to see what I look like.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, whoops. It looks like how it feels to be me. Most of the people close to me who've seen it have said that it's, you know, it's a very accurate representation of what I'm like day to day.
My name's Marlon Williams. I'm from New Zealand. I'm a singer from New Zealand.
Okay, what kind of music?
Sort of country music, actually.
Okay.
Weirdly, yeah.
Okay.
Te reo Māori takes one generation to lose and 3 to regain it. How far are you willing to commit to this?
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
We weren't to know what was going to come out around, you know, the Regulatory Standards Bill and the Toitu Te Tiriti protests. And whilst I'm not sure that we, you know, intentionally wanted to go out and like take on the world, as it was released, it felt like a beautiful antidote to some of the bull. Straight up.
We can't get in! They won't let us! We got scared!
I don't know how to fix it.
We're too geriatric!
I don't believe they made it to the show, unfortunately. I couldn't work out how to get them in at such a late stage, and I had to just go and get up on stage.
Te tiro.
Yep.
Macron, eh?
Aye.
It was important to me that Komi was the right person for that job. As a mātanga reo, as an advisor, but also just purely as a collaborator, as a songwriting partner. And I'll just lean on Komi for the, you know, in terms of the nigglier parts of the reo. Yeah.
Maputi ana ke kiko. Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tongue twister.
Oh, it's working though.
Hoppe! Kiraro! Hoppe! Oia ha ha!
Now that's it for our show. We'll check in with our reporter Adele Fruin next week for all the results from Samoa's elections.
But before we go, for part of President Jose Ramos-Horta's Australian visit, he stopped by the Boit School's choir event at Melbourne Town Hall.
Hundreds of Australian school kids learn songs in Timor-Leste's Tetum language to celebrate 50 years of Timorese culture in Australia.
So far, so i fua.